You mentioned obviously you're really happy with the defensive form. What's changed in the last few weeks between now and the beginning of the season?
No, I just think it's been a process from even in the games that we were losing, we were actually playing well in a lot of those games, but somehow we managed to throw games away and throw points away. So it was really just been the case of analysing, working even harder on the training field in certain aspects of our game, clarifying roles within the organisation, and running and working harder. So a mixture of everything, but it's all a part of the process. Whenever you win or lose a game, to analyse and always look to be better on the training field to take into the games.
How important has Rory Tielemans' return to fitness and form been to Leicester, and how difficult is it going to be in January to keep hold of him if in fact the club decides to?
In terms of fitness, he's been okay, hasn't he? I think he's playing a lot of the games. He's been a fantastic professional for us, and even though he's in the situation with his contract, he's never wavered from his mentality and what he gives to the team. So Yuri provides the team with the great know-how in the game. Wonderful player to work with, and like I said, I will just continue to work and develop his game whilst he's here, and however long that is. I'd love him to sign another deal and continue his journey here at Leicester City, but we'll see in the coming months.
And finally, obviously, look, we're getting closer to the World Cup, as we said earlier. James Maddison, James Justin, Harvey Barnes, all kind of in and around the squad. How optimistic and hopefully you that they will, be in that final 26-player squad?
Well, I think it's just a case of doing whatever they can for Leicester City, playing to the highest level possible, and then, of course, then that will be up to Gareth and his staff to pick the squad. So I think for all the players, it's just getting to this period now where they want to be playing their best football, stay fit and available, and then see whether they can make the squad or not. Cheers.
I'm in the UK.
Hi. Yeah.
Just going on what Anton said in terms of the defensive improvement, how much of a factor has your new set-piece coach been in that, and what's he brought to the squad and the setup?
Well, in terms of the set pieces, I think that Lars has made a great impact. I think in terms of the defensive setup from that, we've looked strong and solid and aggressive when we've defended in that way, and that was the improvement we needed to make. So that's important, and that's something that we identified in the summer, and I spoke many hours to him on that, and obviously his work since he's come in has been excellent. The defensive work within the overall structure of the team is based around our work with the coaches and us all together on the field, just analysing the details around it. And of course we, a number of our goals was based around transition and just being more open. So we've been able to close the pitch much better, whilst retaining our idea to attack the games. So the players have felt much more comfortable with that, and have been working really well. So we hope it continues.
How pleased are you as well with Danny Ward, who's in the last few weeks really growing into that role of your number one goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah, it was always going to take time. Casper, a player with a great status here and a legendary status, done amazing for the club, and that was always going to take time, that adjustment from when he left to Danny coming in, and of course with the start that we've had. But he's certainly embracing that and now starting to relax that a little bit more as well. And I think he'll only get better. But he, along with their overall defending as a collective, has been much stronger.
And in terms of Everton, they play very different to how Manchester City will play. It's a different sort of challenge for you in the squad, isn't it?
Yeah, Manchester City's a unique challenge, the best team with the ball in world football, and the positioning. Add to that the immense talent that they have. Sometimes you have to concede where we would like to normally deny space higher up the field. It was the case of denying space that little bit lower, and I think you've seen from our defensive performance you can still be set up in that structure and not defend well, but we limited Manchester City, and obviously by the end we felt we maybe could have had something. But our next 3 games will go back to how we would normally work and play, which is really look to be on the ball, to attack the game, to be bold, and then always look to defend well when we haven't got the ball. So with Everton, like I say, they've made a number of new signings. Frank has freshened up the team, been able to do that, brought on some good signings and some experienced players from the Premier League, and they look a good team and a threat. So we're going to have to be our best to get a result.
Brilliant. I'll leave it there. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
We'll go to Owen from Radio Leicester.
Hiya, Brendan. Hope you're okay.
Hi, on.
How is Johnny Evans ahead of the game this weekend? Because I know you said you were assessing him before the game last weekend. Is he looking okay for this Saturday?
Again, we'll decide on that tomorrow, whether he's going to be ready to have an impact or whether it's going to be Tuesday. So been a little bit slower than what we would have hoped, but he was out training with the squad today, so we just need to evaluate the risk on that and then take it from there.
Another player who's been injured for a while now is Ricardo. I saw him in and around the tunnel over the weekend, and he seemed to be moving okay, walking. How's his recovery going? Yeah,
he's doing very well. Target time for him was going to be around about January, turning into the new year. But he's working very hard. I think mentally he's in a really good place. He's had a tough time over these last couple of years with longer term injuries, but he's coping very well. He's working very hard and still well on schedule for coming back for the second part of the season.
You were asked already about the being in the bottom 3 come the end of this sort of segment of the season before the World Cup. You said it's still pretty early. Is there no psychological impact or any impact of any kind for you if you do happen to be in there when the World Cup rolls around? Because it feels like a big stretch of time before you get the chance to kind of move yourself out of it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, there can be. And of course, if you have to sit and look at the table for 6 weeks, then of course it could play on your mind. But our idea is to ensure that we're not there and continually growing with the form that we've picked up over this last period. So that will be the plan.
How are you preparing for that break at the moment? Because there'll be some of your players will be going away to the World Cup, and I wonder whether it poses a little bit of more importance on the fixtures that you have between now and then to make sure that you are going into that break in the best possible form. And I wonder how you're preparing for it as well.
Yeah, ideally, I think this next 10 days or so, we get 3 games. So we want to finish the best that we can before the World Cup. Then, of course, throughout that period, there'll be a mixture of having a slight break for the players, but then we'll be in a warm weather training camp, and we'll have games organised to play so that come Newcastle United we'll be firing and ready to go for that first game. So a lot of work will take place over the course of that period, and but like I said before that, we really want to finish the best that we can before the break.
Looking at Everton this weekend, when looking at the results between Leicester and Everton over recent years, it always feels like quite a close game in times, particularly at Goodison Park. Why do you think that is?
It's a tough place to go, but we've been in good positions there. We were 1-0 up and then 2-0 up in a cup game and then managed to draw. So it's always been notoriously a difficult place to go, Goodison Park, and I'm pretty sure it'll be exactly the same come Saturday. So, but no, our idea is to go in. You've got to defend well, you've got to be strong, and then you've got to play your football, and that's important for us. And if we can do that, then we'll be in a great chance of getting a result.